So, Paper Towns Night on the Towns event was 2 days ago, and the movie came out yesterday, so I'm going to talk about it. Paper Towns is based on a John Green book, and I'm going to have to preface talking about it by saying I'm a huge fan of John Green, but I'm a bigger fan of John Green the person than John Green the novelist. I've read The Fault in Our Stars and I've read Paper Towns, and I've liked them a lot, but if I hadn't liked John Green the person, I probably wouldn't pick up his books. But the two that I did pick up, I did really like. So this is going to be more of a book versus movie talk than a straight up like this is what I thought of the movie. So with that said, let's kind of compare the book and the movie. So like I said, I went to the Night on the Towns event and they gave us these posters, which was great. So that's kind of our movie poster for today. Less editing for me. I'll start by saying something that really works to the film's credit. The teenagers, just in like the hallways and all of the high school scenes, actually looked like teenagers. They looked like people that I could see in my school hallways, not like 20-something models and actors. They genuinely looked like teenagers, which was really cool to see and really refreshing. Everyone looked younger than I pictured them based on just reading the book. There is an exception to that though. I think Cara Delevingne and Nat Wolff both looked kind of old. Especially when you see Nat Wolff as Q next to the two boys that played Radar and Ben. He looks significantly older. I'm not sure if that's just me. I'm not sure if it's because I watched Naked Brothers Band as a kid and in my head he's still younger and he just looks really old in comparison. But he did look older to me, and I think Cara did as well. They get points and lose points on that one. So to the actual content of the book, there's one major theme that they took out that I kind of see why they took out, but it was kind of at the core of the book for me. I know John Green had said in interviews over and over again that he didn't think it had to be a perfect adaptation, but that he wanted it to stay true to the themes of the book and that he thought they achieved that. Now, I think in a lot of ways they did. The theme of showing that Margot Roth Spiegelman is not just this imagined concept of a girl with a crazy life. She's actually a real person, and there's a lot more to her than her stories of like traveling with the circus and drinking tea backstage with a band. So that I think really did come across a little bluntly, but it's put pretty bluntly in the book as well. The reader doesn't have to do a lot of thinking about it. They pretty much say, I've learned this lesson, that she's a real girl and not just some image we think of her as. They get points for keeping that, but what they lose points for is there was this darker theme of maybe Margot is depressed, suicidal, maybe gonna kill herself, which I agree is maybe not the best theme to market to the teen-tween age group that's gonna see this movie, but they included the scene at the beginning where they find a dead body. That is used throughout the rest of the novel as a kind of justification for why Q thinks Margot might want him specifically to find her, because he thinks he might find her body. And that relates to, they found a body together when they were little kids. Maybe she wants to come full circle and have him find her if she is dead. That causes a lot of stress to Q, and it really puts a driving force behind their little quest to find her, especially with the thing I'm most mad that they changed, and I don't 100% get it because I think it changes the book a lot. One of my favorite things about this book is their huge 20-something hour road trip at the end. And when you remove the sort of suicidal angle from it, it takes a lot of pressure off the kids, and it takes a lot of the drama and of the speed and the driving force away from it. And they were just, instead in the movie they just had to get back for prom, but the original plan had scheduled in like 3 extra hours, so when they hit the cow in the road, they just like take a break until the tow truck comes. They have time for 2 18-year-olds to go have sex on the side of a road. It doesn't improve the book or the story. I can't understand why they would do that unless it was the only way to justify doing the road trip with any speed while taking the suicidal angle of it. But if she'd just written on Omnictionary that she was gonna be a resident of Agloe, New York until the same time, and they didn't play it as she was suicidal, but they played it as she's gonna move on to her next adventure after that, and that's the last we'll know where she is. And they still did the crazy road trip, skipping graduation. One of the funniest things in the book for me was that they all decided to go to graduation in just their cap and gown with no clothes underneath, and then they had to go and take that road trip like that. And that was just a lot of the spirit of the book to me, and when you change it the way they did, in a way that I don't think makes sense, that was kind of disappointing for me. I was so excited to see this road trip happen, and then I kind of got it, but I kind of didn't. The filmmakers also threw in a couple little things that were like, remember, we did actually read the books, we paid attention to the books, we might not be doing it exactly, but like, we saw it. Like, Omnictionary is included, but I don't know why they couldn't have just included like a line from Q, just like, oh, I knew your ridiculous website would come in handy at some point or something. Like, just to give Radar the credit that that is his. He used it. It's in the movie. They didn't forget about it, but just like an extra line or two just to add more from the original story and give more shape to these characters would have been appreciated. There's a line, the guy whose body they found's wife works at SeaWorld, we should break in. Like, I definitely get that there's budget and time constrictions that made the whole breaking into SeaWorld thing not happen, but it was just, it was kind of weird to get the little nod to it and then not actually get it. Like, I was like, oh, they're setting it up. They're gonna break into SeaWorld and they're gonna talk about how when they were little they almost did it and now they're doing it now, and that's like a motivation for Margot doing it later, and then it just didn't happen, which I wasn't like brokenhearted about, but it just seemed like kind of a weird throwaway line. The only other thing I really did not like was Radar's girlfriend. She was more involved in the movie than she was in the book, and I thought, not to be mean, but I thought the actress didn't do a very good job, and I thought the writing that they added for her wasn't necessary and didn't make the movie any better. If they had just cut most things involving her and added a couple details from the book back, I would have been way happier. The other characters I think were okay. I think Cara Delevingne is maybe a little bit too inexperienced to truly play a part like Margot Roth Spiegelman, who's this kind of very different, unique person that has a very specific kind of mystical personality. And I don't know if Cara quite did it, but she came close, and she was fine. I was okay with it. One of the best parts in the theater I was in went crazy was when Ansel Elgort showed up in the pit stop that they made. That was funny. The theater went crazy, and that was just nice to see them like giving something to the fans. There's one theme that I think hit harder in the movie than in the book. It is kind of a timing thing for me because I'm going through it in my personal life as well, and it's this feeling of ending high school and moving on. It was definitely in the book, but seeing the three boys say goodbye and drive off their cars in separate ways as a senior a month away from going to college for the first time, that just kind of hit. I was sitting next to my friend who I'm about to move a couple hundred miles away from, and she was just like looking at me, and I was like, no, not right now. We're not having this discussion right now. We're watching the movie. I can't deal with this. It was too real. It was a little bit close to home for me. But that's how it was intended, and that scene for me totally worked. There were a couple scenes that definitely worked. The bathtub scene worked. A lot of the scenes where just the three guys were talking, they had like great chemistry together. They were really funny. Singing the Pokemon theme song was hilarious. There's a lot about this movie that did work, and I think maybe people that see it just as the movie and not as a book adaptation will like it better than I did, because it definitely was enjoyable. It kept moving. Sometimes I felt it was a little bit rushed, but maybe that's because they were just trying to get as much of the plot in as possible, because I didn't realize it until I'd seen the movie, but it is quite a complex plot. A lot happens. You can kind of split it into a couple different chunks. There's the smallish when we're kids chunk. There's the like revenge ride part. There's some stuff about the aftermath of that got cut, like interactions with the bullies and the whole stealing the bikes thing that must have just been cut for time. And then there's like Q's search before her, and then there's the road trip, and then there's what happens after they find each other. Like, so I'm not gonna get mad at the filmmakers for not trying to fit it all in, because for one, they weren't trying to. There were a couple of things that they just changed that I wish they hadn't, but overall, it was a good movie. Fault in Our Stars will, in my opinion, always be the better adaptation in terms of adapting a book and also in terms of just being a movie in its own right. If there's anything else that they changed between the book and the movie, let me know. Let me know if you thought it made it better or worse, and I'll check in with you guys soon. Bye!